is our friend and regular Christopher T. Doggy T. Garden.
What's up, guys? But we're in a car
Studio.
Oh, we're in a car studio.
Rolling studio.
Pardon me, a rolling studio.
That's right. And our special guest for the day is Julian Brousseau.
What up, guys?
All the way from
Oklahoma.
Woo!
That's actually Tulsa for anybody out there. Hammer
So
down.
I think I'll start the show off with a little story dating back to the first time.
I'm almost scared to which story's gonna come up.
Well, this one pretty much is the day I broke away from my family. My mom had pretty much given up on me and said, I don't know, whatever your father feels like being responsible for, go ahead and I'm going to put him in your charge. And so my dad signed off on paying for a rent check and a house that was pretty much a speed dealer's house.
San Fernando Valley to your house.
Right off the 210 freeway.
Richie, remember that guy?
Speed Demon Richie.
Dude, that guy played drums with everybody. He played drums with Jimmy Page and Randy Rhoads and stuff. He's bad, dude.
a legend in his own mind.
Dude, he had a mirror on his wall that said, Coca-Cola relieves fatigue and cures what ails you. Hells yeah, dude.
So I was there for probably less than a year, and my brother started getting hip to the fact he was the reason why I moved in there. He moved in there first. They were a place where we used to party, and he worked it out with my dad where he would kind of keep an eye on me, and I would stay there and go to adult school. But I never really made it to adult school. I was doing a lot of partying down there, and my brother came to the decision. He did like the math in his head, and it worked out that I was kind of encroaching on the amount of drugs that were in one house for Rodriguez's name. And he thought I needed to go to rehab. The story kind of goes where my whole family kind of felt I needed to go to rehab, but seen through the eyes of my brother.
Wasn't he the guy that was actually supplying all of these loads of supplies, Steve?
Yeah, he was dealing on the side too.
Dude, me and Wes would we'd want to smoke some weed, and we wouldn't have no weed. So, what was the name of that dog? It was like an English
Bulldog.
Bart?
No, Bart. What kind of dog was that?
It's a terrier, wire hair terrier.
Yeah, he looked like what do you call the special investigation in England? A Scotland Yard. He looked like a Scotland Yard cop. One of those dogs. Looked like he needed a pipe out of his mouth.
That dog had been run over so many times, its rear legs were fused to its backbone.
Dude, we didn't have no weed, so we'd open up Max's door when he was sleeping, and we'd push the dog in there, and we'd wait about a half hour, and we'd open up the door and let the dog out, and the dog laid down and rolled around, so the dog would come out, and we'd pick buds out of his back. There'd be so much bud on the floor, dude.
Man, I remember those times. This time we pulled up in front of the house. Stopped. We got in the house. We got out about 2 o'clock in the morning. Came out. Car wouldn't start at all. Wouldn't start.
We couldn't figure it out. We looked under the hood. We couldn't figure out why the key just wouldn't work.
That's right. And what we did was we took it and we eventually went and asked Richie. I think it was Richie.
Yeah.
We're outside working on his bug, or we're repainting it for the 50th time that week. And we're like, dude, can you give us a jump? And he's like, yeah, dude, no problem. So he brought up his big old 66 Cadillac and plugged it in. And it still wouldn't start. Wouldn't do anything. Sit there.
And we're talking about little Nissan Sentra. That big old Cadillac wouldn't turn over that little Nissan Sentra.
Yeah, it definitely. And what it was
when I pulled up,
yeah.
we were so excited to be there. We pulled up, turned the car off and left, and we never took it out of drive and put it in park.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't turn on because the transmission was in drive.
This was like 20 minutes later we actually realized this. And we put them put it in park and said, "Yeah, thanks, dude." Just started up and we drove away.
All to you, man. See it does. Thanks for going out of your way.
But you can always count on the fact that somebody will be awake to let you in.
Oh God! I remember we went over there for a New Year's Eve pig roast. They put a pig in the ground.
Yeah.
But I was so spun out, I never tried it. I didn't even. I was so excited. I went there to the party, and I never even tried the pig, dude, because I couldn't eat.
Methamphetamine has a way of preoccupying
It's
you, right?
it's weird that way, isn't it?
Remember the time in the Kmart parking lot?
Which time in the Kmart parking
Julian
lot?
and Kraig dismantling the entire trunk onto the floor, organizing their entire tool.
No, that was just me and Kraig. That was the day I got
was you
arrested.
and Kraig?
That was the day I got arrested, dude. We weren't in the parking lot. We were behind the wall, like over by the nursery section, and we didn't see the cop pull up. And the cop creeped out from around the wall in his squad car, looked at us. We're the only people in the parking lot. It was 3 a.m. Looked at us and kept going behind the Kmart. And me and Craig are like, "Oh shit, we better put everything back in the truck. Get out of here." So by the time we put everything back in the truck, I mean, we emptied our trunk and turned right? Back on the freeway.
Yeah.
We put everything back in our truck, and the cops already pulled up, opened the doors, and got out. The funniest part of that story, though, is when they arrested me on some failure to stop at a stop sign ticket that I got like 4 years before that. On the way to the police station, the cop goes, Tea Garden. Where do I know that name from? Now I'm thinking, oh, I'm in trouble because my mom's been arrested a lot of times in the valley, and she's pretty notorious with the LAPD. And he's on Tea Garden. Where do I know Tea Garden from? And Craig saw, I think it's biblical. I'm like, oh shit, dude. Oh shit. They gave Craig a sobriety check.
How do you give someone on speed and fucking
Well,
ride?
no, we just got it from a bar. It was my 21st birthday. That's why we unloaded the trunk. We were checking out all my gifts. And it was my 21st birthday, which makes it 96. The thing about Kraig is how do you give a guy a sobriety check who's marched so many years of drum corps and marching bands? They said stand on one foot, put your other foot up on your knee, put your arms out and count to 20 slowly forward. Well, the guy's a metronome. The guy marches like almost for a living. You're like, this guy's got impeccable balance. He's gonna count in a constant rate. Everything was perfect. They tried to check him for like 20 minutes. He was smashed out of his mind. He passed every roadside sobriety check, dude. I was like, oh, you're never gonna get him. This is a waste of all of our time. I don't know what
Is that a
doing.
breathalyzer?
Yeah.
Yeah. They never messed with us the time we were in the Kmart parking lot, straightening the frame of my buddy Dinpin's K5 Blazer that was bent out of shape. Spent the night with a log chain and a street lamp in the parking lot.
Oh, wrapping the log chain around the frame and then wrapping it around the street lamp and then just ramming it in reverse.
Yeah, well, no. We got to the point where it was like, okay, just pull back a little bit more. And we slowly stretched that to the point where the truck ran on and on and on until the engine just finally gave up and died.
That's the old school way of straightening a frame.
Yeah, we just took the chain and did it because it'd been held on to the transmission mount for months before that by our belts that we used when we actually got in the accident. We'd tied the belts around into the transmission and the frame, and actually they were there when we took them off after we straightened it. So
held the truck together with their pants belt.
like, dude, we need something to hold us down, and we're like, okay, I got a belt. You're like, I got a belt too. So we just freaking wrapped around there, and that's we drove back from Devonshire and Balboa that way, and then months on in, we're like, yeah, we'll fix it when we get back, and then we just
Gave up on it.
yeah.
So how long, Wes, have you known Julian, and how did you guys meet?
I met Julian. Julian, you didn't go to Verdugo, did you?
Yeah, I did. I didn't meet Wes until after we were both not going to Verdugo anymore.
Right. Right, because you were in the marching band. That's how you knew Chris and Craig and Dan and everybody.
Like, and Dan was living with me.
Oh, hold
Chris
on. Let's
was
not go any further.
Right.
Let's talk about why we're on this rolling podcast. Julian's in town for 9 days. He's already been here for 4 days or something. We can't get a hold of our buddy Kraig. Kraig has turned his phone off. His cell phone number that I have doesn't belong to him anymore. We can't get a hold of him. So we're on the road on a mission to find Kriggity Kraig. We're gonna go to his house if he's not there. We're gonna go to his work. I don't know what we're gonna do, but we're gonna find this guy, man. It is 11 o'clock at night, and we are on the road on a mission to find this bastard. We will find him. So we're going to Tujunga. We're going up to the Rock, Tujunga, California, and we will find Kriggity Kraig. That's why we're doing this rolling podcast.
How did he get the name Kriggity Kraig?
That is a hell of a question. How the hell did he get the name Kriggity Kraig?
Kriggity Kraig, because it all a little crickety, because it always was all blah, 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 blah. Man,
For the audience, Julian was just rattling his head like a rattle while he said that, so you have to envision that.
Yeah, it's just we all kind of bounced around. We were to the point where we were just on springs all the time. We walked around Tujunga like we owned it.
We did.
Well, let me dial it back to the time that I actually moved in with Julian. So we're back in the house where I'm living with my brother, and he's decided to do an intervention to drag me to
An
rehab.
intervention before interventions were popular.
But it wasn't just an intervention, Wes. What happened that evening to make him think the next morning they had to do something like that?
Oh, you got to tell this story, Wes. The freaking Wes
Was it a
Max
mushroom
story.
trip?
Yeah.
Wait, that's 2 against 1,
Okay,
man.
as far as I know, Wes, correct me if I'm wrong. This is what I understand: is that Wes ate a bunch of mushrooms. The trip was bad. He came out of his house, and they live in a cul-de-sac.
Right.
They live in a cul-de-sac, and he went to the middle of the street
And laid in the
and he
fetal
laid
position.
laid in the fetal position, and from my understanding, closed his eyes and said, "Oh shit, this is not good. This is what I get. This is my eternity, and this is what I get for dying on mushrooms." Oh my god! And then when Wes is all sober and done, and probably wakes up in the morning, he's in the street on the warm asphalt. And that's probably a good reason to start an intervention, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And Sizzler's still open?
To me, as I recollect, I don't remember that being like the day after. It probably was a catalyst to why.
Well, I thought Max went out and saw you and called your mom, and that's why when we picked you up from the 7-Eleven in Lakeview Terrace, you didn't even have shoes on.
No.
No, that's because he ran from the intervention.
Right. Well, let me tell. Right. So,
Okay, all right.
So everybody, I think it was my father. And
Hey, look, this is
my
where
brother,
Wes got the name Weak Sauce. Right here.
It's all the way on the
Burrito
right.
Factory.
Yeah.
So my father and my brother have shown up at the house. I'm there, just relaxing, probably smoking bong hits or something, and they tell me, okay, we're gonna take you to rehab, and you have no choice. You have nothing to say about it. I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm like, no, this is not gonna happen. And my brother physically bear hugs me and drags me out of the house. And everybody in the house is watching it go down, and I'm feeling like totally alienated here.
Yeah.
Dude, this is where Sons of Anarchy is filmed, right across here, and the Taekwondo place.
Burger King always there?
They are literally dragging me out of the house, and I'm barefooted. That was the reason why I was able to flee. I'm being dragged out, and they open up the little gate in the front yard, and I push it closed and push back with my bare feet, and I'm pleading with them, look, have some decency, let me get my shoes at least. And
Go the drugs.
the biggest mistake was them letting go of me and turning around to go get my shoes,
Poof, and then-
thinking that I'm just
yeah.
gonna wait there.
And then there's a cloud in the shape of Wes. Just left while Wes is gone.
And that's when I called up Julian and told him, man, I'm about to go to rehab on account of my family, and that's not gonna float.
They don't understand.
So me and Julian jumped in the car and drove down to 7-Eleven in Lakeview Terrace and picked up Wes.
And Julian says, you can sink or swim with us, man.
That's what my mom said when I asked her.
That's what she said to me when I moved in. Come in here and sink or swim with us.
Yep.
That was also a proposed title to the show. I like that sounds. Sink or Swim, SOS with Wes and M. Sink or Swim with Wes and M.
That sounds pretty good though, SOS with Wes and M. It kind of rolls a little bit.
So at one time, all 3 of you guys were living in the